everyone, and welcome to session 6 of prepping ref sheets for ArtFight. Today I'm going to pick the characters by using a random number generator. I have every single one of my characters numbered, well, except for the ones that maybe I might be holding off to work on, which are a few. But for the most part, all my characters are numbered. That way I can just pop it into a random number generator and then it'll randomly pick a character for me. Yes, that is very intentional. I also number my characters for file organization. It's very, very helpful. Number your characters. But picking them randomly will give us a good variety of characters in the video, and hopefully some characters I may not necessarily be that ecstatic to work on. Sometimes I need a kick in the butt to work on a specific character. And all characters matter. I don't want to pick favorites all of the time. We will be working on 5 total characters. First, Lucy, who is an OG character. Then Z, who will be a redesign. Then Winston, which is one of my very favorite characters I'm very excited for. I was so happy when it landed on him. And then 2 redesigns that are made using the same reference. I will explain that more when we get there. And then the last one will be Pria, which kind of ends up being more of a redesign, but she won't be considered that when it comes to adding her to ArtFight. Now on to the first character. The first character we are starting on is Lucy. Lucy is a very OG design. I have actually been holding off on drawing her specifically because of that reason. Her design is so old school KateKruzan, I don't want to ruin that. And we are not having a round 2 of the Lucinda situation. I absolutely refuse to make that happen again, or make that mistake again. But it's good that I learned my lesson from that whole ordeal. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch ArtFight episode 1.2, and it will catch you up on pretty much everything. But anyway, I have had Lucy since 2018. I think this is the original picture, and I'm pretty confident that it is. She is actually a unique character that got some like proper shaded realistic art. I had a short spree of drawing my characters very realistic for a short while, which would be really fun to try again sometime. I'm sure I need the practice. I am not very, I haven't practiced with like a pencil and like, what are those called? Like smudgers that are like made of paper. I have not done that in so long. It feels like forever. But the goal with working on her design today will be to make sure that she keeps her original aesthetic and features. In her original premise, she is meant to be a bit of a gaudy design and a little overdone, especially when it comes to the amount of freckles and makeup. Originally, I would always call her a sheep, but now that I've had her for a while, I think she looks more like a goat, which whatever I label her as doesn't really matter as long as her design is still good and the way it should be. I don't particularly care what category she will be in, so I'm not worried about being specific, but for now, I'm going to call her a goat. One thing we are adding to Lucy's design is hooves. I am sure in the original, if I had the experience I have now and all the character design stuff I've done, I would have 100% given her hooves, so I do not mind adding that. I think it's a bit of a given, plus it'll add more uniqueness to her and her character design. Now, Lucy is actually a teacher. She will probably be an elementary school teacher. Other than that, her plot hasn't been added to, like, at all, except for, like, her personality, like, yeah. Her design also will have some rule breaks, and what I mean by that is she will have only one color that is only in one spot of the design, which I really try to stray away from unless it's done very intentionally, which in this case it is, but it does speak to my brain very often. Which I should say that one color that sticks out, or is the only one on the design, is the green in her eyes. I totally said that all without saying that. Another rule breaker is her design also has a lot of pure white, which is what it is. I think the pure white helps with her innocent nature, so I will allow it. And again, a lot of my older characters I've just made and they have pure white. I've talked about this before. I will keep it, even if my brain stares at it suspiciously and calls out in my brain, it's fine. I will live with it. Plus, it looks good, and I always make exceptions sometimes when it comes to pure white. And the last thing that is a bit of a rule breaker is the fact that she has curls around her face. And you might be thinking, Katie, what's wrong with that? I think it's cute. And I totally agree with you. It is very, very cute. I really like it. I think it also adds to her childish and innocent nature. But my character design brain stresses due to the fact it's only in the one spot in the design, and that pattern doesn't show up anywhere else. It's mostly just a Katie problem. But I like to have everything appear more than once in a design. That way it looks intentional and thought out and consistent. And one of my favorite things to make sure a character is consistent. Even if it may be consistently inconsistent, which is a whole nother pocket of worms, which Lucy does not classify as an consistent character. But I will keep the curls because at the end of the day, I think it improves the design. And if it improves the design, we're keeping it. Balancing the colors for her was oddly hard. I was actually pretty surprised. But adding the pink to the knees and using some airbrushing really helped. It really sold the design. Here is a little animation thingy I did a long time ago of her. The colors here, you can tell I was experimenting back then with trying to figure out how I liked picking colors. This was actually a pretty decent effort, but it doesn't work completely. So I did have to change it. Also, I think back then when I was trying to figure out color palettes, I kept adding more to the color palette instead of limiting myself, which I have totally learned from. The best thing I've ever learned is trying to limit color palettes to like 4 to 6 colors, and then you're good. Unless you're doing like a rainbow character, then do a specific palette of just like the rainbows, and then you're good. Like you don't need to make it so complicated. Or if there's like a color that's like so close to another color. There's very rare cases I'll keep that. I'm sure I can think of a few eventually, but it's not necessary. Anyway, this is the final design. I love this so much. I can't even express how much I love this. It's been a couple days since I've done it, and I still love it. It's great. I'm actually happy with this. I guarantee that I won't end up disliking it over time. Like, I'm genuinely happy with it. I'm glad I could work on an OG character and give it some more life, because I'm very excited to work on her more and draw her more, because I've missed Lucy. I've very much missed drawing her. Anyway, on to the next character. Alright, the next character is Z, and you can find this Redesigns original artist on Z's Toy House, which will be linked in the description under their ArtFight link. But this is the original artwork we are working with. I was actually a little concerned at first because I liked the original so much and how simple and solid of a design it was. I didn't think I would have anything to change, but I proved myself wrong. However, I don't think my changes were too drastic. I feel like I just developed the character more since the original is really just a doodle. I doubt the artist spent that much time thinking about how it looks and just did something fun, but hey, I could be wrong. Maybe they spent a lot of time on it. Regardless, I think it's cute. I really like the spiky and fluffy fur route I went down. I love that it adds a little more chaos to this little fur ball. I have no idea what type of animal he would be, which I think is fitting. I think he should be a mystery, an alien of sorts. I also thought giving him spiky teeth to match the spiky fur aesthetic would be very fun. I love that there's two kind of things going on in this design. It's the spikiness and the roundness. The spikiness with the fur, the teeth, the fluff, and the roundness with the ears, the legs, the eyes, the nose, and the eyebrows. I think even maybe we could have kept the tail from the original, that like more cylindrical instead of fluffy, which would have worked, but I also think this works just as well. I think both would work perfectly fine. I kept the color palette the same as the original, except the purple, which I made a little darker to give it more of a pop. Now, since the original had stripes as its main pattern, of course I have to make stripes Z's main pattern, and his name is Z. I don't know if that's what the character was originally named or I picked that for it. I do not remember, but it's a great name regardless. But stripes is going to be his main pattern, and since I feel like, I don't know, something about him is giving like graphic pop art or like something like comic-y, I thought polka dots would be good in the hair. I don't know why. My brain spoke that to me. I felt like it was his destiny. So we're gonna add some polka dots in the hair. And I also add the brush settings on his ref sheet because I like doing that. So I have it for future reference, which is really good for me because I often forget. And this is the final design. I really like it. I think it's solid. I love that I added Z's into his eyes. I think that's so fun. I love the colors. I love everything about this. The thing I love the most is the gradients throughout the fur, like the hair and then the like fur. You know what I'm talking about. You can see it in front of you. I don't know why I'm talking like you're not looking at it. But I really like that. I like it because I was having such a trouble balancing the colors, and then boom, added a gradient, fixed itself. Work of art, let me tell you. I love this very, very much. So this character will be listed in ArtFight under all of my redesigns, so it will not have its own page. It will share a page with the redesigns. You will find that in the description. Anyway, on to the next character. Now on to Winston. When I randomly got Winston as my next random ref sheet to do, I was very, very excited. Mainly because Winston is a solid comfort character for me. But I have not given him the spotlight and attention he so deserves. He is a tiny bit of a redesign. Here is the original art I got for him. You can find the artist on his Toy House page. They are That One Cool Kid on Toy House. That's their username. I will even put a link to their page under Winston's links. It'll be the last one, so it'll go like ArtFight Toy House and then the person. But I did alter his pattern placements and change some colors and kind of change the tone of his personality. Maybe it's just me that sees that, but the original is great. I just made the adjustments to suit my preferences. If you've been here long enough, you know rabbits are my one weakness. I don't know why. Actually, I think it's maybe because when I was little, my mother themed my room around Peter Rabbit, which thinking about it, that's kind of odd for a girl's room, isn't it? I've never thought about that. I don't know, maybe that's normal. But I now oddly feel safe around rabbits in a weird way. It's rather interesting. But this character doesn't exactly look like Peter Rabbit, so who knows? It's also weird that I feel safe around rabbits considering FNAF is my favorite game and the rabbits aren't exactly known for good things. And my favorite character is Springtrap. Well, I can't claim to say one is my favorite character specifically because I like a lot, but Springtrap is pretty up there. No, but this character is really, really great. And I am very excited to work on Winston. I guess the only problem with him from now on after this ref sheet is that I don't have many other robot characters I have worked on enough to draw with him. I know on the ref sheet I'll put like relationships, but I kind of like those are kind of like forced a little bit. Like I had to fill in something there. Honestly, my robot section, which I call my mechanic underground, needs some major work. It's one of my least touched sections, which is mostly due to my lack of robots over the years, and the fact a lot of them don't match well. They're kind of like oddballs, and a lot of them aren't main character material. But now that we got some work done on Winston, I'm very, very hopeful. I even did this little doodle while waiting for something to render on my computer. That's how much I love him. Now for Winston, I would say the biggest focal points and like patterns in his design is his spiky fur texture. I feel like that's a very big key part of his design. And then his stripes, which honestly, for some reason, I think stripes is my most used pattern in characters. For some reason, that is just an aesthetic for me, I guess. I don't know. I guess we could also count his like chunkiness as a kind of a pattern because every part of his body is kind of giving the same chunky round shape. It's very consistent in that way. And I guess his eyes and nose are quite oval, but mostly the chunky fur texture and the stripes are the biggest pattern and cohesiveness in his design. It's also pretty cool that he's purple. I don't have too many like colored characters that are colored in this way. I have like one. Actually, I have one character that's very closely colored to Winston, which I noticed when I had originally got Winston's. I'm like, these two are like almost identically colored. I thought it was really funny. I'll put that character up on screen. His name's Ione. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna go with pronouncing his name. I think Ione, if I remember correctly. But this is him. They're just so closely colored, and I think that's really funny. I really like both of their designs. They're both really cool. Maybe I'll do a picture of them together. That'd be pretty great. Okay, this is me cutting in the future. This will be a little odd, but this is the next day Katie. So I just mentioned in the voiceover that I had no characters that would go with Winston, but that has literally just changed. I actually just got 2 new ones, and they are from the same artist that originally designed Winston. I was on their page last night while recording the voiceover and reached out to them about these 2 characters. I'll put them up on screen here, a pink bear and an alligator, and they were kind enough to give them to me. I'm very thankful and excited about them. I will be linking these characters' Toy House pages in the description as well in case you want to go look at them. Anyway, back to other Katie. But I really can't express how much I am in love with this little robot rabbit. So stinky cute. His haircut is so adorable. He's just a little chunky guy. Ugh, seriously, I could just fangirl over him. He is rather complex when you really stop and smell the roses, but I think all the patterns and stripes are very, very worth every single brush stroke. I hope you all agree, and if you don't, I honestly don't care. I really like him. I especially like his ears. I feel like they're just very unique to him. The round, short plushiness to him just look interesting. Here is the final ref sheet. I think it looks great. I think it's good. And yeah, I love Winston. He's a great character. I'm excited to work on him more. On to the next character. Alright, now on to Pria. Pria was originally a Monster Girl Maker design that I made art for once and didn't really care for afterwards. Her design is alright, but today I'm hoping to give it some new life, which is ironic since she is intended to be a living skeleton. To reflect this skeleton theme, I want to make her body type more unique and give her some more skeleton features like a rib cage, and also just make her taller because I feel like I could always use some more taller girls. About the Monster Girl original picture, I will pop that up on screen. So this was the original, and then I will show my drawing that I did. I have had Pria for a long time and kept her intending to always revisit her design. It may have taken us a while and a few attempts, because I've tried this before, but here we are now. I would say this go around was easy, but no, it wasn't. The character and line art itself was easy, but the colors were brutal, and I'll get there when we get there. One thing from the original that we are keeping is those slanted eyes and the fact that her eyelashes are red. I think that's very cute. I think that's very pretty, and I love a character with a slanted eye to make them look more neutral, more shy, maybe more calm. I really like that. I think that really fits Pria's personality and the personality I'm trying to go with for the final result. Something new, or a few things new we are going to do. One feature that is also going to help push that skeleton theme we are doing is like this eyebrow. This eyebrow type situation deal. It's going to look more like the bone for an eyebrow than an eyebrow itself, but it will still look like an eyebrow. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to make it look more like the eyebrow bone than an eyebrow. We're also going to accentuate her skeleton nose and make it a little more obvious. We are also going to give her fangs because I thought that looked cute. That's personally just the only reason. Her outfit is also going to look very drastically different from the original because, I don't know, the original was boring and I don't want to just add a scarf to another character. When I was younger, that's what I would always do to just, I don't know, give characters more personalities, just throw on a scarf, but like that's so tacky. I'm above that now. Speaking of tacky, you know what I will do? Add frills all over this design because I'm basic. When it comes to outfits and adding lace-like stuff, that is all I know how to do, those little frills. And I will not apologize because I don't hate it. I like it. There's something about it. Okay, now for the colors. The problem I was having trying to use the original picture's colors is it just wasn't working. I wanted to keep it to a primary color palette design. Doesn't work. It's just, it doesn't even match her aesthetic that I ended up landing on. Like, her personality is just not giving primary colors. It's just not. So I limited it to just red and blue, which of course I did. I am KateKruzan. Of course I picked red and blue because it is the ultimate color palette and I will not apologize for that. But it took me forever to figure out that it wasn't working with this yellow, and I just kept trying to push it because I'm like, the original had it, I need to keep it, and no, it just didn't work. Some things I did do that were quite fun is add stripes to part of her outfit, but the very special thing I did for the rest of her outfit is I made this like skull pattern, and it's going to be like, I wouldn't say, I don't know what I would call it, but the skull pattern is going to be on the rest of her outfit and design, and I really like it. I think it's really cool. I really want to have more characters where I just make a pattern for them and then just stick it on their design. I think it's really fun. It's easy because I can just save the pattern and then reuse it in future drawings, which I did. And if you want to draw her for ArtFight, you can find the pattern on her ArtFight page and also on her toy house. So if you're going to do that, that might be helpful to you. To be fair, when it comes to the color palette having that yellow, I should have known, because the best color palettes are like a color palette of like 4 to 6 colors, and if I had added that yellow, it would have been like 7 colors, like too many. So it's so good that I got rid of it, which I should have knew better. I don't know. Sometimes I make stupid decisions, but I will die on the hill that 4 to 6 colors for a color palette is the best color palette, or the best option you could do. Now there are obviously some exceptions, but for the majority of characters, it's the best. When it comes to Priya's plot, I don't have many ideas except for one. I want her to be able to talk to spirits or talk with the dead and kind of like, I don't know, read energies, read spirits, something like that. Something along those lines. I want that to be like her job or whatever she does. That's pretty much all I have when it comes to her plot. I'm sure I'll think of something cool down the road. Well, I mean, I guess that's pretty cool, but I'm sure I'll think of more down the road. Here is Priya's final ref sheet. I really like the route I went with her. I like that her body type is very unique, and she's a great addition to my character collection. I think she's just very special and fun. Anyway, on to the next character. Alright, for this last character, it was a little tricky. This is the picture or character I am redesigning. It was a little tricky because, well, the original quality of this image isn't very great, but also it's not giving a whole lot. There's not like a crazy amount of stuff to like really build off of. I don't know, in my opinion. And like the colors aren't exactly like the colors I'd pick, maybe. But since I started working on this, I actually ended up with having 2 characters because I did like a first set of colors and like a pattern, and I was like, it's okay, it's good enough to keep as a character, but I'm like, let me see if I could do a better attempt, and I managed to do a better attempt. But I think they're both all right. However, they both have the same line art, so they're going to be like twin characters. I pretty much just drew a standard cat for the line art, very similar to the original, just give it a little few fun details. Like I added little things on the ears, little tufts of fluff, and then gave it like a round normal cylindrical tail. But I really did not anticipate this taking as long as it did. It didn't take too long, but it took longer than I expected. Like the colors I took from it were good. I don't know. It was just something that was tricky about the placement and trying to make it look like the original, because like it's hard to make, I guess in this case, it was hard to make more out of something so simple. Like I was trying to take something from nothing. Hopefully that is making sense. This video has been a bit of a long video, hasn't it? The main aspect I wanted to take from the original was those spikes on the back and incorporate it into the newer redesign. I also thought a sun theme would be cute, so I added a like sun little mark on the thigh, on the little back ham, and then the cheeks. Which actually that first attempt I don't hate. I still think it's like pretty alright. I just feel like it didn't exactly give the original, so I wanted to like maybe see if I could represent the original just a little bit better, and I think my second attempt does just that. They will both have their own Toy House page though, and they will be, you can find them in the ArtFight redesign page section. Also, the second attempt, I just feel like it's the design's fuller and it's more well balanced. I just think it looks pretty cute, Pretty cute. Pretty cute. Pretty cute. Goodness gracious. It's been a long voiceover. And these are the final designs for this redesign. I really like them. I don't hate them. Obviously, the first one looks a little more tacky than the second one, but I kind of like that the first one's a little tacky. There's something about it that I'm like, it looks a little childish. It's a little cute. And, you know, it kind of fits the having like the little sun because, you know, like as kids, we all drew the little sun in the corner with the sunglasses. I don't know. I think it's really cute. They don't have names yet. So if you have suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And that is it for today's ref sheet prepping stuff. This video was a lot. I really tried my best with the editing for this video, more than like my other ones, so hopefully it looks nicer. But thank you for joining me today. Hopefully I will see you again soon. If you are watching this right when it goes up, I am probably live right now for ArtFight, so if you want to go check me out, I am probably streaming right now. If you want to go pop in and say hi, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to, you could. Also go check out my Ko-fi where you can buy a YCH or an Adopt. I've listed a few Adopts recently. Hopefully they're still up if you want one. And you know, for kicks and giggles, I'm actually going to take the line art that I did the last redesign and make some Adopts with it because I think that line art's actually like pretty good for like Adopt base. Just for fun. I won't list them for like crazy expensive, probably like $5 at the most. Actually no, I probably just will put them at $5. But I just kind of want to experiment with that line art and just list them. So if you are interested in that, go check it out. You could get a character from me for pretty cheap. In case you want something KateKruzan-ified, you know what I mean? But that is it. I love you. God loves you. Stay safe.